Hey y'all!
Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Smith and Waker, talking about everything
Motorcycles
women.
and fun.
Lots of fun. We always have lots of fun. We have a special episode for you today. We're wishing all of the folks watching us a happy Valentine's Day, and this is the Valentine's edition of Smith and Waker, where we are going to have a Newlywed Game.
Yes, a motorcycle-related newlywed
Right.
game. Our husbands have agreed against their will to join us today.
They were voluntold.
They were voluntold, yes, that they were going to do this with us, and you know, as you can tell by their faces,
They're super excited. You excited? So let's introduce them.
Okay.
So you go first.
All
Introduce
right.
your hubby.
What's your name?
My name's Stefan. I'm Mollie's husband. Been riding motorcycles for about 15 years, and I'm just really happy to be here and be a part of this podcast.
All right. So what made you, what was the question we were going to ask? Why am I nervous? I feel like I'm on my first date.
Well, we can
That's
talk about first dates here in a minute.
weird.
It'll be fun.
That's so weird.
So, what do you do when you're not riding?
Yeah, what are you doing now? That's what I meant.
Not a lot. I like to try and spend as much time with the family as possible. So, we do a lot of cooking at home and eat dinner at the table and things like that. And those are the things that I like to do whenever I'm either not at work or riding my motorcycle. Is just spend time with our boys.
So what do you do for work?
I sell motorcycles. I'm fortunate enough to work for St. Paul Harley-Davidson, and been with this company for about 6 years.
So ladies, if you're looking for a bike, I know a guy.
Right. I know a guy. He knows a guy. We all know this guy.
I've been fortunate enough to be a part of the industry on both sides, as recreation and as a career. So it's just been really fun.
Nice.
Awesome. And I will introduce to you all my husband,
Eric
Waker, and he's the other Waker of the Smith and Waker that got me the Waker, because I wouldn't have been a Waker. We would not have been Smith and Waker without the guys.
Yeah.
So, and honey,
Are you gonna get all sentimental on us?
yeah, and I'll get a little teary. Honey, what do you do when you're not riding?
work.
So what do you do for work?
I'm a maintenance technician.
Awesome. And how long have you been there?
5 years.
Wow. Awesome. And how long have you been riding?
Let's see. Probably about 42, 43 years.
Oh, well, I guess the answer to my question is
It's
wrong.
Yes. A little
All
bit.
right.
How have you been riding 42, 45 years if you're only 35?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Right. So I heard
Mm-hmm.
that you had some motorcycle related fun on your honeymoon.
Yeah, so after we got married, so we didn't do anything really Harley related for our wedding or motorcycle related for our wedding, so we got married in December.
Yeah.
And in Oklahoma, it's bipolar weather down there, so you never know what you're going to get. And so we did a road trip for our honeymoon.
Fun.
And we drove from Tulsa to St. Louis to Chicago to Milwaukee to Minnesota to Iowa back to Oklahoma.
Kansas. Stopped in Kansas.
Yeah,
City.
for a minute. Yeah,
A minute.
for just a minute. That's a sore subject. And then
There's a story there, people.
Yes, there is, and it concerns barbecue and wanting to get home. So we made sure to stop at every Harley-Davidson dealership that we caught on the way there and on the way home. And one of the first dealerships that we stopped at was one of Stefan's memories of his first dealership. I think it was
Oh.
Ozark Harley, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In Missouri?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
I think we hit, like 10 of them whenever we were?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun.
That's cool. That's
What
very
about
cool.
you? What motorcycle related things did you intertwine into your wedding?
Oh,
I know the answer to this is just really cool.
That was just a little setup.
Yeah.
So we'll put some pictures up here as I talk about it, but I made my own shoes. So I bought some shoes and I put Harley-Davidson on them. They were not licensed shoes. I don't know what I'm supposed to say legally to say.
They
but
sell
I bought
stickers. So
yeah, there was a sticker. It was a sticker.
Yeah.
I had a cake that said "Ride with me forever" on the side of it. And then we just had some pictures taken with bikes. So we have a couple of
in Minnesota.
In Minnesota, because we got married in August, and that year, how hot was it that year?
Oh, here we go.
Woo! It was hot. It was, I think,
like 93.
It was like 90. I think it was like
Minnesota
98
hot.
degrees.
98 degrees.
It
yeah.
was so. It was so humid, and people couldn't even be outside. It was that horrible. But we stood out on the blacktop just so we could have our pictures taken with a bike. So
that's fun.
yeah, it was fun.
In a suit.
In a suit.
In a suit.
And a wedding dress. And a wedding dress.
Yeah.
With full makeup on. All right. So we decided to do this just kind of to celebrate Valentine's Day. And so Molly and I brainstormed some questions that we asked each of the guys to answer, and we answered ourselves. And we are going to compare answers as we go through the episode today.
You can't see my answer.
No sneaking looks. And we'll play a little clip here of the guys kind of prepping, and ourselves. I don't know if we got pictures of ourselves doing it.
Pictures, but so we fill these out before, like we were all separated. We didn't prompt each other or anything like that. So, so I'll start here. Monica and Eric.
All right.
Did you know that you're now, why did we say now? That you're now husband-wife.
Well, because at the time when you were dating, when you met, you probably didn't
Oh,
know
okay.
that.
I thought you were alluding to the fact that
No.
maybe your past husband
And
or
here we
wife.
go, guys.
I don't know. I don't have to.
The circus
I don't know. I don't have to worry about a past husband or wife. Do you all have to worry about past husband?
We don't have to worry about it, no.
I don't have to worry about it.
Okay,
Okay.
squirrel. Did
I'm gonna
you
scoot back so you can-
know that your now husband or wife or husband rode when you met him or her? And was that a deal breaker if she didn't ride?
You want to answer first, babe?
Yeah.
Did you know that I
That
rode?
I knew she had a motorcycle. I knew she didn't ride.
Yep. So you may have heard tidbits of the stories in some of our past episodes, but I bought the bike before I even knew how to ride. So it sat in the garage, and when Eric came over and I showed him the bike, he said, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna have so much fun this summer." And I said, "Yeah, there's just this one thing. I don't know how to ride." So that was kind of a
Would it have been a
funny
deal
story,
breaker if she didn't know how to ride?
No.
No? Okay.
yeah.
What about you, Monica?
So, yes, I knew that he rode.
Mhm.
We met online, and so I saw it on his profile.
Mhm.
So I knew that he rode.
Mhm.
Would it have been?
So you swiped the right way?
It was plenty of fish.
Oh, okay.
So no swiping, just hooking.
Oh, okay.
And was it a deal breaker? I wanted to say no, that it wasn't a deal breaker, but at that particular moment, I was looking for a guy that rode.
Mhm.
So I was like literally looking for someone who was going to be on a motorcycle, because by then I already had one and I didn't know how to ride. So I thought, oh, I'll find somebody that knows how to ride. Da, da, da. So I think at that particular moment, it would have been a deal breaker.
Mhm.
But I'm so glad you rode. Okay, how about you guys? Did you all know that your husband and wife rode?
I didn't know if she rode or not, and I quickly learned that she did not ride anything. But I also learned very quickly that she had a scooter in the past and had always wanted to ride motorcycles. So that was something that was early on. You know, she had told me that how much she had wanted to be able to ride, and wanted to ride and things like that. So I could tell by talking to her how excited she was to have that opportunity to be on a motorcycle, even if it started off with her being on the back of one. So that's
awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I knew he rode. He worked at Harley.
Well, that's not always a telltale
Yeah.
sign, but
Yeah.
Is it a prerequisite?
Not necessarily.
not necessarily.
But it's probably highly recommended.
No.
If you're going to sell bikes, it
You
probably
relate
makes
to your
sense.
customers
Yeah,
better,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And would it have been a deal breaker?
No.
No, it wasn't a deal breaker at all. Not for me. I was.
Now, if he got rid of his bike,
Might be a deal breaker.
he might stay home while I'm out riding.
Which might break the deal.
Which might break the deal. No, not really. You're stuck with me. I'm sorry.
All right. My question to you guys. Next question. What was your spouse's first bike?
A 2006 Harley-Davidson Sportster 883 low.
That is correct.
Ooh, nice job. You get
Yeah.
points for that. Point,
Okay.
ding, ding, ding.
What color was it?
Oh Jesus. Red, black cherry.
we play a game where we identify. Well, I identify motorcycles, and now she's playing along with it. So when we're in the car and I see something, because of me being in the industry for as long as I have been, I can tell you what year bikes are and
Bless
stuff. You know, from just seeing them, based off of the color. So whenever I see that black cherry, I'm like, oh, that's a 06, 07 this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No. I'm lucky to be
okay.
able to discern a motorcycle from a scooter from a distance.
So, I am going to say that Mollie's first motorcycle was actually the black scooter with the red flames on it that she had, that she used to zip up and down the street to the snow cone place before we
And
met.
You would be wrong.
Yo, take
You would be wrong.
away.
You would be wrong. And I brought it with me because I still have it.
Oh my!
Hold on.
She brought it up here. She came early just so she could bring that up here. So we're gonna do a little visual.
All right.
Aww.
When I was 3,
Look.
I got my first motorcycle for Christmas.
Aw.
And it's a little police motorcycle.
Aw.
And it even makes the noise.
Aw, cute.
So,
Cute. Awesome.
so does that count?
No.
Why?
No.
It doesn't have a
No.
motor.
And then of course now that's what I said. There's no
But
motor.
I'm the motor. I'm happy.
But the first actual motorcycle would be your 2017 Heritage.
Yes.
But the scooter counts in my opinion because it is 2 wheels and it has a motor, and as someone in the motorcycle industry, I feel that if you're on 2 wheels or 3 wheels even, as long as you're out there experiencing the wind and riding, then it doesn't really matter what you're riding on as long as you're out there and enjoying it and continuing to practice and move up at your own pace. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I definitely moved up.
Yeah. Yeah. From that to your heritage,
Yes,
I think I
yes.
would call that a step up.
Okay.
All right.
So, Monica, what was your spouse's first bike?
I don't know. So I'm guessing at this one.
Mhm.
Because I'm not in the industry and I can't guess bikes. It was a blue Sportster. That's the only thing I think I know, but I don't even know if that's true. It's the only one that I know to be his first bike.
No, it was a gold Kawasaki 900.
Not even close.
And I think the year of it was like I want to say 75.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
They had bikes back then?
Oh yeah. Cal 900s.
Back
That's
then
That's a
was a
popular
deal.
motorcycle.
That's one of the fastest bikes from back then that you could get on.
So, Eric, what was Monica's first bike?
A 2007 Sportster, red Sportster,
You are correct. You are correct.
1200.
Yep, was it
Oh.
1200? Yep.
So, yours was an 07 Sportster 1200, and his was an 06 Sportster 883.
Huh. Look at that.
Look
Yeah.
at it.
Sportster baby.
Yeah, look at that.
love my sporties.
In hindsight, I would have kept mine. I thought that I needed to trade up, but now in hindsight, I would have kept it.
I've had several motorcycles, and I still miss my 2006 Sportster.
I love
and
throwing it around.
currently have a 93 Hugger that I am working on getting back on the road. So,
Cool.
yeah.
That would be awesome. All right, your turn. Next question.
All right. How long has Monica been riding?
I I may be wrong, but I'm old and I got an excuse for it. 4 years.
4 years? How long have we been? This is a Newlywed Game moment here. How long have we been married?
7 years. Oh, shit.
7.
We've been married 5 years.
We'll be married 6 here in August.
In August.
And I met you 2 years before that.
Yeah.
So it's been more than 4 years.
We've been together 7 years.
Right.
So you've been riding, I'm going to say.
7
wow,
years.
7 years. Hey.
Well,
I may be wrong.
don't feel bad because I'm wrong too.
Yeah, so how long has Eric been riding?
I said on and off for 25 years, but you said earlier when you did your introduction that it was more like 40-ish years. So I'm wrong too. So we're in the negative on both of those.
Okay.
Okay, you're up.
All right. So, being that I was there when Molly got her first motorcycle, I'm going to say really riding a motorcycle for the last 3 years.
That is correct.
So.
Okay, I didn't answer this question. I said longer than he's known me. So technically that's right.
Technically you are correct.
But years, I'm going to say, you said this a while ago, but I don't remember what you said. So I'm going to say 12 years.
It's close. I bought my 06 in it was April of 2007 when I bought that 06 Sportster. So it's going on 14 years since I
I
started
find it
riding.
fascinating that the guys can remember some of these details, yet they can't remember to take the trash out. It just kills me.
It's not that they don't remember.
Yeah, it's selective memory.
Tripod selective memory.
Selective memory.
All right.
All right, you're up.
Yep.
Complete the sentence. When I see my spouse on their motorcycle, I feel
an overwhelming sense of pride. I'm very happy that she has been able to do something that she never thought she would be able to do.
That's cool.
And she's taken some trips and done some things that I'm kind of envious of.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited for her and just happy that she's found something that she can be so passionate about, and has just been able to take it by the horns and run with it, I just think that's pretty cool.
Yep, that's awesome. Oh, are you going to get all teary?
I did a little bit.
Aw.
I did.
So how would you answer that?
It's funny because I said pride, or proud, and I also said turned on. Because he's really sexy.
If there are children in the room,
No.
you should ask them to cover their ears right
Yeah.
now.
No, he's a very good rider, and even though he doesn't get to ride as much as he'd like to, he enjoys it a lot. So every time he takes off on his motorcycle to go to work, or because that's usually where he rides it, he has the biggest smile on his face. It's like it doesn't
Don't
matter.
we all?
It doesn't matter how late he's running for work. It doesn't matter what the day looks like. He is just as happy as a bird with a French fry when he's on his bike.
Is that a Southern thing?
Yes.
That sounds like something your mother would have. French fry.
No.
What about you guys? Eric, how do you feel when you see Monica on her motorcycle, and why?
Very proud. Very proud. She started. She's a natural. She was a natural when she started.
I agree with that. Just since I've been riding with you.
She knows how to ride.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she started and she was scared, and within an hour and a half of riding that bike, we were on the freeway and she said, "Let's keep going."
I don't want to go.
Exactly. Don't make me go. Till I went, I'm like, can we go again?
Monica?
I had two also. I said proud because I think it's cool when he gets on his bike and he just looks like he's commanding the road and commanding the bike. And I also said excited because I know if he's on his bike then we're in riding season, which means I get to ride too. All right. What is the funniest story about your spicy spouse
My spicy spouse. Okay.
and their bike? Funniest story.
I don't really have a funniest story. I do always think about early on when Molly was learning about motorcycles, even before she had her own, and she would ask questions.
I already know.
The best thing I can relate to is explaining what all the thingies and do-whats are on the motorcycle. You know, what's that thingy do? You know, that do-bobby down there, you know, doing that. I think that's what I think of, you know, when I think of funny stories with Molly.
I thought you were going to talk about the name of the road that...
That was pretty good. we were on Winding Road, and she looked over at the street sign, and the name of the road was Winding Road, and she's like, "Oh, Winding Road." And we got about a block down the road, and I was like, "Winding?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, it could be that too." I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Winding Road.
Winding Road. Yeah,
Oh.
Winding Road.
Oh my God, that's funny. And your funniest story, Miss Molly?
I enjoy whenever we're on the bike, and I don't know why I'm like, whenever we start dancing and acting really stupid, like when I'm riding 2-up with him. We've had some really good times to ICP on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
And Prince. But another funny thing was after I went down on my bike and I got my bike back, and Stefan was like, he had warned me that I didn't need to ride it to town whenever I rode it that day when I went down. And so when we picked my bike up, he said, "You're going to ride it home through town. I'm not helping you with this. You need to get over it. If you want to ride in town, you're going to have to do it." So we got about a block from the dealership, and we had to make a right-hand turn. I didn't even hide it. I didn't even hide it. I don't know. Left from our right, we made a right-hand turn. Went that way.
Went my way.
And Stefan was in front of me, and he made the turn on his bike. and I'm like walking my bike around this turn, this major intersection in Tulsa, 51st and Memorial, and he goes, "Are you gonna ride the bike? What are you doing?" And
I'm coming.
I said, "It doesn't matter how I turn it as long as I turn it."
And just before that happened, as we were turning onto Mingo from the neighborhood, so the dealership is on Memorial, and then a mile away is another big major street. Yeah, it's Mingo. And so we kind of rode through the neighborhood, and then we went out to Mingo's a lot less busy than Memorial is. And I'm looking back, and I don't like being in front. I like Molly being in front so we can go at her pace and things like that, you know, but she wanted me to be in front of her. So I'm looking in the back of my, you know, looking in my mirrors and checking and everything, and we get to the turn out onto Mingo, and I remember I had to catch my motorcycle because I'm like, where is she? And I'm trying to turn and look back and watch her. And next thing I know, I'm putting my foot down, trying to pick my road glide, keep my road glide from being on the ground. But, you know, that's what I remember that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about y'all? Funniest stories?
Funniest stories?
My funniest story is
Oh boy.
trying to outrun the rain back up Broadway, and the car came down her side, and I looked, and there was this big wave. And then we stopped at the stoplight, and she looked at the lady and said, "Really?"
She hit a puddle, and it was like whoosh,
Yeah.
and I was soaked.
Mhm.
It was my first time in the rain. I was a new rider, and I'm like, "Really?" And she just looks at me and goes, "Sorry." Like she really couldn't control it, but I still to this day laugh when he tells the story, even after all these years, and he tells this story fairly often, of him getting off his bike and forgetting to put his kickstand down. And I hear more people talk about it, but the way he tells the story just makes me giggle, because he'll say, got off the bike, went to walk away, and realized, oh, woo, I forgot to put my kickstand down, and it was going.
And
So
they fall in slow motion.
Oh, they
is
totally
what
do.
it's like. They start to lean over, and it's like, you know, any other time, if you're sitting on it, you're like, oh, you know, but the moment you get off of it and don't do it, it'll like sit there for a second and just slowly start to go.
and you swear you can muscle it, but you can't.
No,
you
you
can't.
can't. You're usually screaming expletives as it's going down,
Yeah.
like for yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Oh, this is always a hard one.
Mhm.
Scariest moment or scariest story about your spouse, spicy spouse, and their bike.
So early on, when Molly had first gotten the Heritage, she's always been a go-getter, and she was saying that she wanted to ride her bike to work. And you know, she had only been riding for a couple of weeks, and I told her that you know, I wasn't really comfortable, but you know, I knew that she was going to want to do it, and
Even if
you
you weren't
know,
comfortable.
so I asked, you know, as long as you wear your helmet and your jacket that she had just gotten and stuff,
Beautiful jacket.
and you know, she called me when she got to work. I had to go to work too, so she called me when she got to work, and then she called me at lunch and told me she was going to go meet her sister for lunch down the street. And I was selling motorcycles, and I was in the middle of selling a motorcycle, and my cell phone rang, and I could just tell something wasn't right. And I got a phone call over the dealership phone, and when I picked up the phone, I said, "Are you okay?" And she just started crying. And she was okay. It wasn't bad, you know. And it's one of those things that unfortunately happens, you know. And all I gotta say is safety gear is something that I never used to wear a helmet. I never, you know, took that kind of stuff serious until Molly started riding, and now I don't go anywhere without a helmet. You know, I'm really big about safety gear now, and I think that's one of the reasons why. So.
Scariest moment with Steph. I was 2 up with Stefan. We left when he got off work to go to Dallas from Tulsa. It's about a 6-hour drive, and it was dark. And we took the turnpike to Oklahoma City, and then we were heading south. And he was doing, because it was dark, and we were trying to get there fast. We were doing 120.
Yeah.
I like it. The turnpike. And we did
It was a long time ago,
It
and
was a very long
the
time ago.
statute of limitations has run out.
Way out.
Yes,
Yes, way out. But we got to Oklahoma City in it's usually what, a 2-hour drive? We would get there in like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about an hour.
So we pull in to get gas, and he was so disoriented from going don't do this, do not do this, from going so fast that he kind of had, I guess.
I had like sea legs.
Yeah.
Like I pulled into the gas station, and for some reason I just couldn't figure out how to put my feet down right, and about dumped over the road glide in the gas station parking lot.
And you're never ever supposed to, as a passenger, put your feet down ever, but I did. And if I wouldn't have done that, we probably would have dropped the bike.
I probably would have dropped my bike
So,
that night.
That's the only time that I
Moral of the story is we took our time going the rest of the way to
Yes,
Dallas.
we did, yeah.
After that, you know, it was better to arrive safe, so we took our time, and it took us quite a bit longer because we took several stops and, you know,
That's
rest
right.
breaks and stuff.
But that was the first long trip we'd ever gone on the bike together. So we learned a lot about each other
I bet.
on that drive, yeah. So, scariest story, Eric. What about you?
I was over in Minneapolis, just hanging out, and I was standing there with a group of people talking, and my phone rang, and she said, "Don't panic," and right then I knew what happened. And I looked at my buddy and I said, "We gotta go." and I asked her where she was. She told me where she was on her way to, and jumped on the bike, hit 94, straight to Woodbury. And when I got there, you know, they took me to her. She was a little skin up, but she wasn't real skin up, just her, I think her arm.
Mhm.
And she told me she was all right. She kept assuring me she was all right. But, you know, that was my scariest moment.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that one day it would happen. I just hoped it wouldn't be bad, and it wasn't bad.
Those were scary. That's a scary day.
But one thing I do know about going down, whatever you did that made you go down, you may not remember it, but you will never do it again.
No,
Mhm.
no, you won't.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's
That's
true.
so true.
So
That's
true.
Uh-huh.
I think the scariest incident I had with you, there've been a couple, but it was mostly like, but it wasn't like his fault, but like cars on the street, I can see them come close to him or something like that.
Mhm.
But I think the scariest was, I think it was for our anniversary last year, when we were heading south, and Eric is allergic to bees.
Mhm.
And so we're on the road, we're going along, and all of a sudden I see him like wiggling around on the bike, and I pull him next to him, I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, I got stung by a bee. He's got his goggles on and his bandana on, and I think you may have even had your face covered. And there's like this much skin showing, and that's where the bee got him, right in the middle of the forehead.
He swelled up, didn't
Well,
he?
not right away.
No.
So we stop, and I'm like, we really should go back. He's like, no, we're good. Let's keep going. The last time I got stung, it really wasn't that bad. I'm like, you have an EpiPen for a reason. So I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this. No, Monica, it's fine. We're gonna keep going. So we go an hour and a half or so further
Yeah.
south, and we get there, and he pulls off his glasses, and I'm like, oh my God. We go into the dealership, and even the dealership down there was like, do you want us to give you a ride to the hospital? We'll get your bike over there. And I'm like, Eric, we have to go. He's, no, I'm good. We'll drive over to the hospital. Well, we did actually get to the hospital. But with COVID, it was crazy to even think about being in a hospital or it was a clinic. But then they gave him Benadryl or whatever they give, the 2 shots that they give him for, epinephrine and something else. And then we had to sit for like 3 hours in there. So we spent our anniversary in the hospital.
Oh.
And if he allows it, I'll show you pictures. I have funny pictures of it, but they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
I said to, at one point,
the B1.
the B1, yeah. At one point I had a picture of him where it said, he's kind of taken this till death do us part thing to the extreme.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
So, who rides their bike more, you or Monica?
Last year she might have, but I don't know. We ride.
We ride a lot together.
We
so.
ride a lot together.
I say Eric rides more often. Like he'll ride to work every day, all of that kind of stuff. But I think I probably put more miles on. That is what I'm thinking. I think I did like 12,000 miles last season.
Oh, good for you.
So, and we didn't keep track, so it wasn't like that. Sorry, was that a sore spot?
Excuse me.
But he gets on it. He could be putting on as many miles. He just gets on it a lot more because he takes it to work every day. How about you guys?
Oh, Molly rides way more miles than I do.
Did that hurt to say?
Yeah. You know, I spent a lot of time with having a motorcycle as my only mode of transportation for a long time, so I put on a lot of miles, and I would love to put on, be able to ride every day and stuff now. I don't have a very long commute, and
Did you take the long way?
yeah, if I take the long way, I got about a mile, about a mile round trip commute now, and before I could put some miles on when I was had a little longer commute and everything, but I spent a lot of time doing motorcycle things that aren't necessarily riding.
Mm-hmm.
So when Sunday comes around and things like that, as much as I want to go ride, it's also my day to do things with our family and everything else. So I got to find that balance and be able to do a little bit of both. So it's normally one weekend of riding, one weekend of being at home and doing things.
Adult.
Being an adult.
Responsible adult.
That's kind of, unfortunately, that's where that's just the way it is for me.
And you're kind of empty nesters, so.
We are kind of empty nesters.
Yeah.
But we heard in other episodes that your boys are starting to ride too.
They are. So that
can be a whole family affair.
Yeah.
Now, when the boys
that's
start
awesome.
riding and are able to ride, at a level that they could join us on some of these longer rides, it is something that I hope that we get a chance to do together.
That's great.
Just the little rides that we've been able to go on as a family have been, I've talked about it with several people at the dealership about how awesome it is, and it's kind of renewed some of the love that I have for the sport. Because when Molly was learning to ride, it was really exciting for me to watch somebody progress.
Yeah.
And now watching my boys pick up motorcycling and watching them practice in the parking lots and doing that and progress and being able to go a little further each time, it's really fun. So it has helped keep that like I said, I'm fortunate enough I get to do something I'm very passionate about for my job, but it is my job and my hobby, so I got to have that fine balance.
Yeah. And
Me.
did you all?
Yeah.
We established that, yeah. So I want to I want to ride down my bike to Oklahoma. Do you think you could take time off work? No. Well, I guess I'm going by myself.
Yeah. I mean, you did your solo ride. Let's see. Who is less likely to ask for directions when you're lost?
Me.
He won't even ask. If we're in the grocery store and we can't find something, he will not even ask somebody where it is. He's like, I'll find it. Just wait.
To be fair, I don't get lost on my motorcycle because I have GPS. So I will ask the GPS, but to actually go and ask someone for directions, no, I'm not doing that. So.
Is that your answer too?
Yeah, absolutely. What about y'all? Who is
Who's
less
likely to ask for directions?
Yeah.
Her, because she's the one that got the GPS. If she's lost,
GPS queen.
if she's lost, she don't tell me. We
just
go a different route.
You just keep following the GPS
just
till you
following
get
the
there.
GPS.
It's like, oh, this is the third time. This is the fourth right we've made.
Yeah, and what's the issue with that? That's what GPS said to do. That's it. Molly's been on a few of those with
Yes,
me.
I
Where all of a
have.
sudden
It's like, all right, whatever. We're on a motorcycle. We don't get lost. We just take
pull
a
into a
different path.
parking lot, turn around, go the other way, go right back out again.
Yeah, we're
Whatever.
just practicing our U-turns.
Right. Right. All right. Who is more adventurous?
That's a tough one, because I think in some ways it's me, in some ways it's Molly. I'm gonna go me because the whole not asking directions thing. I will take us down like gravel roads and stuff before.
I'll stop at a gravel road.
Done that.
It's like, we're just gonna go down here for a little ways and see what happens because the GPS said it's fine.
Yeah. Even if we're driving over a bridge and the GPS hasn't updated, the motorcycle's spinning. We're fine.
It's fine.
We're
It's fine.
fine.
The bridge is open.
I said, I am where I will go. Like, I'll ride anywhere. But he is a more adventurous rider in that he will ride more aggressively than I will.
Okay.
So it's kind of, to me, I didn't know how to answer that because I wasn't sure how to, even though I helped write that question. What about y'all? Who's more adventurous? You don't want to answer the question? He's like, take the answer.
Her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she'll go down a road that she ain't never been down.
Yeah.
I mean, just turn right here. Don't worry about it. The GPS will get us home.
Totally. That is totally true.
Yep.
Yep, I said me also.
Yeah.
We all got points.
That's exactly how I am. Like, oh, the GPS said it's fine, so
if I start to feel like
And
I'm
then he
lost,
starts cussing at the GPS whenever it screws up. He's like, that damn thing.
Yeah.
and if we start to get lost, I just say, take me home, and eventually
Yeah.
it gets me back there
Sooner
again.
or later we'll make it.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to get a little personal.
Mm-hmm.
A little about how you all are a couple. Who made the first move?
Molly.
She did?
Well, it's what do you mean first move? What do you
Define
mean?
what you mean by first move.
He asked me out on the first date, so if that's how you determine move, I pounced on him like a. I
gave
kissed
me
him
the
first.
first
I kissed
kiss.
him first.
She initiated the first kiss.
Yes.
There you
So
go.
I did.
that's what I.
And I told, because I was so nervous, and I was like, it was our second date. The first date, he hugged me whenever we went our
Let's
separate
try and be a
ways.
gentleman.
That was nice.
It was
Let's
very
try and be a
nice.
gentleman.
What did you do?
Who, me?
Who made the first move?
Me.
Where did you do it? What did you do?
Kissed you.
Where?
In back of my apartment in the car.
We got it right. Aaron kissed in the car. Whoop, whoop. We got points.
So where was your first date?
Ooh, first date.
Wow. Well, I wanted to show her where all the bikers hung out at. So we went over to the 4th Street Saloon over in Minneapolis.
That sounds sus.
And I told her, don't worry, it ain't dangerous.
Good time.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, when we go over here, there's going to be people standing around you that ain't going to let nothing happen to you.
Mhm.
And it was.
So I one of us is wrong. Because that's not what I have for our first date.
Oh.
What was the first date?
I said our first date was Savoy's Pizza. Didn't we
Hey,
go
it
to
was 7
Savoy's
years
and
ago.
We sat there and you always made cracks about the fact that I couldn't eat a lot of pizza and you had
Yeah,
all these
but-
leftovers.
Yeah, it might have been on the same day.
Well, we'll take the points.
Take the points. All right, babe. What was our first date?
Our first date was at Magoo's in Tulsa,
Mhm.
which was a restaurant slash pool hall place, entertainment center, as you could say. And then I had an exit strategy about the pool hall.
It's true.
And we had a really good time there. So right down the way, there was a little mom and pop Mexican restaurant in the same little shopping center. So we walked down there and had dinner together after playing a couple of games of pool. So.
Cool.
That's right.
Aw, you guys get points. High
Yeah.
five for points.
High five.
All right. Where was your first ride together?
Okay, so our first ride together, when me and Molly met, I had a 2009 Sportster 883 low with 18-inch apes on it,
Mhm.
and a passenger pillion for the back seat. And so she was like, I want to go ride the motorcycle, and I was like, it probably isn't going to be the most comfortable bike ride, so we're going to stay close. So we just kind of went around the block,
Literally.
around like a little bit, and it wasn't too long after that I got the Road Glide. So the first real motorcycle ride we went on was, I do believe, to Natural Falls, which is on the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. It's a little hidden waterfall. Yes, they have waterfalls in Oklahoma. It's a little hidden.
Waterfalls.
It's a little state park with a waterfall down there, and then you go to places like Minnehaha Falls here, and it's like, yeah, it's like somebody left a garden hose at Natural Falls, It's like, but it's still very beautiful.
Yeah.
And I do believe that was the first real motorcycle ride we went to, because that's one of my favorite places to go.
Yeah, I remember going to Natural Falls, but I said it was around the block on the Sportster, literally we
Literally.
got on the bike, and so we got about halfway around the block, and he goes, "Have you had enough?" And I was like, "Yep, go home." And it wasn't long after that he had called me, and he was like, "They have one Mystic Purple Flake road glide left, and this guy's in here looking at it. I want it so bad. It's my dream bike. Please, please, please say we can get it." And we got it, because I wasn't going to ride on the back of that damn Sportster again.
That's funny. All right, Eric?
First ride together.
First ride together was over to, what's the name? The Lex. Yeah.
Then
Over in St.
one of
Paul.
us has it wrong. Because I say our first ride together was
Hang
on my
on,
way
hang
to
on.
my sister's house.
Oh.
Actually, it was to McDonald's.
Nope.
Oh, no.
I
You
was
heard
on the back of
story.
your bike.
Oh, you
Oh.
talking about
We
your
didn't
cabin.
say.
We didn't say.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
McDonald's was the first where we went independently, and the kind of first bike experience together was me on the back of it to my sister's house.
If your spouse could make one modification to their bike, what would it be, Eric?
It would be some speakers in her tour pack. Big.
Turns out I can make it.
She
It's
had-
downstairs being done right now.
No, I'm talking
Oh.
about the ones in the
Oh,
tour
oh,
pack.
yeah,
She
tour
was
pack,
talking
yeah.
about getting a Razor tour pack that didn't hold nothing but speakers.
What?
Yeah, I want to have it custom made so that the speakers like are pointing at my back,
Uh-huh.
and that like when I'm just out about the town, I can have that on. But when I go travel, then I
Oh.
can switch it out for the one.
So
that
a
I can
quick
actually
connect
pack
with
it.
the, yeah, alright,
Yeah.
alright. So what about Eric?
And so I don't know what stage your engine is in right now, but I would say you would want your engine souped up. I don't
Power.
Correct.
More power.
Correct.
All right, you guys.
Alright, so,
You're going to tell the story about this, aren't you?
no, I'm going to make it quick because I know it's the red brake calipers.
Yes, it is.
Because I had mentioned wanting the red brake calipers on my bike.
On a purple bike. It's like the Red Hat Committee.
The Red Hat Society.
Yes.
But she told me that I couldn't, that they would look stupid, and then she saw the red brake calipers, and for the last year and a half, she is like, all I need is the red brake calipers for my bike. That's so.
That's not
yes.
all I need, but
Yeah.
that's one of the main things. I said for you, stage 2 and a new stereo.
Yes.
Yeah.
We looked at stereos together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I told you that I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll always work through any of those desires through each other's spouses
Yes.
in case we
Yeah.
ever need to know.
She was like,
Yeah.
oh, why do these new speakers sound awesome, and I want some.
Well, so that you guys know what we're talking about, Eric and I were in last weekend. Stefan was working. I went up and was saying, hey, can you show me these new speakers? I want to know what they sound like. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
no
we
problem.
go over and we laughed for quite a while because we could not find a radio station that was playing a song. It felt like forever until we could find a station that had a song on. We finally found one. I think Justin came by and actually hooked up his phone.
His phone, yeah.
And then jacked up the music, and it was so loud, and I'm like, oh, I'm so doing this. And then I was just going to have the front speakers done, and then I went in the back, and they convinced me, like, just a little twist. They didn't even have to twist all that hard to make me go, oh, let's put new lids on. New
Yeah,
speakers,
yeah.
new lids. All right. Got a few more questions left. We're about 45 minutes into our...
The last few are pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
What part of the bike reminds you of your spouse?
Okay, so I wasn't quite clear on what you were talking about, but I think this is true with both of our motorcycles. I think the color of our motorcycles remind me of my spouse. Mine, I have a Hard Candy Custom purple color, and purple's always been one of my favorite colors. And when Molly kind of said something about it when that bike came out, it was kind of a joke between all of us that I would end up with that motorcycle.
Mhm.
And when we finally got it, there was another gentleman who was looking at. We had just so happened to get one in, and it was in the back of the shop. and I had sold the last one that was on the floor, so there was one left, and there wasn't going to be any more bikes coming in. And I said, if I don't get a chance to get this bike, I think I'd want to do this color instead. And Molly said, no, we're going to go ahead and get that bike. So
Cool.
we ended up getting that bike. And then with her bike, the teal and white, she has called it Pocahontas. You know, it's got a personality all on its own, and
Just like mine.
she's my little native princess. So I think both of them, the colors of the bike, really remind me of Molly.
There you go. Aw.
I said the
Make me
handlebars. I am. Shut up. I said handlebars because he likes to be in control.
Good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
Good
one.
one.
But
So no
also-
points for you two, but interesting
But
nonetheless.
also his pockets, because when I used to ride with him, and I know that his pockets you wouldn't think are part of his bike, but whenever I was riding with him and it was cold, I was always put my hands in his pockets because they would be the warmest place on the bike.
Aw.
So his pockets.
There you go.
So
All right. What part of the bike reminds you of me?
The stereo and the color. The stereo, because she always wanted a top of the line stereo.
I like my music on the bike.
Yes, loud.
For sure.
And the color, because 2 of the 3 bikes she's had were red.
Yes.
It
And
gotta be
2
red.
of them were those 2 bikes were very close in
They really
color.
were. Yeah.
Ruby slippers.
Yeah. They're like sparkly.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
I said the part of the bike that reminds me of you is the pipes, because they're so loud they remind me of your snoring.
I think that's a common problem, and
Hey,
all of us.
he's dreaming in motorcycle.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
I think I bought you a coffee cup that says that. That's not me snoring. That's me dreaming motorcycles. All right. When you're out on the road, who is most likely to engage a stranger? Just talk to a stranger.
That would be Molly. Somehow I work in sales, but I tend to be a very quiet person, and so whenever Molly has never met a stranger, we can't go to the grocery store without her talking to a stranger. So yeah,
I'm
definitely
really
my
bashful. I'm
Yes.
so bashful.
wife. Definitely my wife.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay,
He'll
points for you
often he'll
guys.
say, "Are you making friends
Yeah,
again?"
you making friends.
So what about y'all? Who's most likely to engage with a stranger whenever y'all are out riding?
Me.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I said too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be out there filling up the gas, and I'll be like, where the hell did he go? And he's in there telling his whole life story to some stranger.
We're usually talking about bikes.
Yeah.
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 Oh, sorry, just
Somebody will ask me about the bikes and where we're going, because we're usually far from home.
I think the main reason why that doesn't happen to me so much is because every time we go anywhere together, Molly's bike stands out.
Oh yeah.
And everyone comes up to her and tells her how pretty her bike is.
Her too.
And I get mad and I'm like, I'm ready to go.
We were at a stoplight one time, and we were going straight, and there was a car in the turn lane, and he was on the inside, and I was on the outside, and this person rolled their window down and said, "Your bike is so beautiful." Yours is okay too, but your bike is. And he just looked over at me like, if looks could kill.
I'm always ready to go. It's like, okay, I get it. But her bike is beautiful, and I love her bike.
I
Just
love his
because-
bike. I like his
It
purple
is.
bike. It's
We
pretty.
always get kids that come by and see her ride. They go right by me.
Yeah, all the time.
And then you see the little kids in the back window.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which are my favorite. I
Yeah.
love when the kids do that.
Who has the smallest bladder?
Who has the smallest bladder?
Me.
I said him. Points. Whoop. Points on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time we stop, it's
It doesn't matter if we just stopped like 30 miles ago.
Yeah.
I'm going because I know.
In 10 minutes, we probably should stop again.
Who's most likely to get hangry first?
I said me. I said me.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy,
You're so proud of it.
They are.
Real me.
So last night after dinner he goes into the kitchen and he grabs an oatmeal cream pie and the Nutella and smears Nutella all over the top of this oatmeal cream pie.
Delicious.
And the look on his face was orgasmic as he's eating this oatmeal cream pie with
Each their
Nutella
own.
on
Yeah,
top
it
of
was
it.
delicious.
Cracked me up. So snacks, Stefan snacks. Mhm.
Yep.
Who's more likely to run out of gas?
Okay, should we just point to our answers? Who's most likely to run out of gas?
I said me.
I'm really worried about it, but I'm also the one that is pushing to get as much distance. So it's like, oh no, we can make it. We can make it to this place. So that's why I said me.
She will ride until you're on fumes. And then you look over and it says E and she's talking about, what are you talking about? Out of gas. I got 20 more miles.
Totally. Until that little
I
thing
will-
comes on my bike that says, would you like us to find you a gas station? I'm good.
I will push it like to the like. Okay, we only got 5 more miles to that gas station, and I'm down. You know, my light's about to come on type. But I'm always on a schedule. It seems like, so that's why I said me, because I will
Handlebars.
push it. I will push it. You know.
Lights on.
Yeah.
No, I'm on that. I'm at a gas station at a quarter time.
Well, that's because you guys both have small bladders. We just.
Yeah, that's probably true.
We
That's
just.
probably-
I've run out of gas.
I'm on it too.
In the tunnel.
Oh man.
Oh. In that super long tunnel in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
there's this thing here like this?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, and last question. Who in your life, this one was worded weird and we talked about it a little bit before we had this, before we started recording, but who in your life was your biggest inspiration to begin riding?
I don't know who Mollie's inspiration was, but I know my inspiration was my Uncle Mike. Growing up, I have a lot of aunts and uncles, and my Uncle Mike was always the coolest one. He was the one that was cool. He rode sport bikes, was a bodybuilder. You know, he was just always cool. And you know, I remember being a little kid wearing his motorcycle helmet. He had a full face helmet, and I'd walk around pretending like I was Darth Vader in his motorcycle helmet. And I just always kind of looked up to my Uncle Mike, and to this day he still rides. So it's, you know, it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
I said his Uncle Mike was his biggest influence.
Mhm.
We actually saw him when we went to Chicago for our honeymoon, and he was. They just had a great conversation about riding.
Aww.
For me, it was my first influence. My earliest memory was probably my Uncle Walter.
Mhm.
He rode Hondas most of the time. So yeah, cool. What about y'all?
My biggest influence was this old guy. He seemed old to me when I was a kid, but he rode a Harley named Tanky Harris.
You remember that, so cool.
He used to chase my brother home because my brother used to mess with his daughter. But he was a biker.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was just mean. Everybody was scared of him.
He commanded respect.
He was, you know, my idea of a biker. Always had oily clothes. I think it was back when when
They were
AMF
self-lubricating.
had
Back when they were self-lubricating.
right. But it was him.
So that was a question that I did not know the answer to for you, because we had never talked about like what really ever inspired you to ride. So
Right.
we learned something today about him. And for me, I was trying to figure that out, and I feel kind of selfish when I say this, but nobody really influenced me to do it. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Like I think I talked about it in another episode. Like I saw guys doing it, and I thought, why can't I do it?
Mhm.
And so I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So I really didn't. I was a tomboy. Badass. That too. That's what I'm going with. So
Yeah.
so I didn't
Yeah.
really nobody in particular, that I can remember. All right. So how'd you guys enjoy this?
I had a lot of
It was pretty
fun.
cool.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
fun.
fun. It was fun to get to be a part of your guys' podcast. I, you know,
Now I know what you guys be up here doing.
and I did joke around when you guys were first starting about being an executive producer for the show, but that got quickly shot down. So I'm glad I still got to.
We thought
yeah.
we was gonna be
some creative credits for the show,
right,
but
right. We thought we was gonna be in the credits, but you know.
But no, it's very nice to see you ladies, you know, taking part of this and you know grabbing life by the horns and just taking you know doing this. I think it's really cool.
Something else to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aw, thanks.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
I love you. Well, we got you guys. I love you. We got you guys a little gift for Valentine's Day. I know you like
Aw.
strawberries and chocolates, mostly chocolate.
Mostly chocolates.
So
And we have a fruit pizza.
Wow.
she's trying
It's not the one she made 'cause she's good, but I'm good. I mean, I can break. You know, I'm trying to drop some pounds. but
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Exactly.
Yes, we're gonna do it, Eric. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna beat this.
So this is it. This is our
Yeah,
episode.
that's our episode for Valentine's Day. We hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Join us next time where we're gonna go over some tips and tricks that we've gathered.
We're getting
from
tons pouring in.
So many. Keep them coming because we're learning things.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, yes.
And all the positive feedback for all this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Until then, keep it shiny.
Smith and Waker out.
Out.
Bye.